All right, welcome everybody for another edition of Building Our Watch List. This is the night of September 16th, 2025, and I think we'll just get right into it. First, I need to make my disclaimers. Number one, I'm not a professional. I've been doing this for a pretty short time. And number two, this is not financial advice, just showing you what I do, and we're all trying to learn together. So without further ado, let's dive into the market. Overall today, it seemed like a bit of a rest day, a bit of a pullback day for some stocks. But overall, I saw some things that were still very encouraging, so I will point those out as we go through. And I just realized I didn't actually reset this stuff. You guys can see how I do this. I'm actually going to turn off the camera for 2 seconds. Not trying to hide my methods. I just want to. You never know what's going to come flying on your screen these days, man. So there's my top 100 list. Yeah, I put in a text file and I just imported it in. So this is what we want. That's 100 stocks there, so that's what we want. Okay, sorry about that technical difficulty. I also did not reset my Wi-Fi, so hopefully we're not moving at the pace of molasses through this whole entire video. But yeah, I saw a lot of encouraging things today, so let's just get into the stocks. So you can see that Tesla did indeed hold the bottom of this down day. It does look like it's going to continue its run. Whether we start to make a little bit of a consolidation here or we just keep charging upwards is anyone's guess. Certainly shot out of that base with a lot of power. And this one probably going to start moving well, probably not quite yet. I like to use this bot trader for my stops, for my hard stops. And then I usually just use judgment as long as it doesn't hit that. So this one, I actually probably can move my stop up to break even on this one. I don't like to use this bot trader as just a pure buy and sell. But once I do get into positions, I do like to use it for kind of a safety net hard stop. So I'm probably going to move my stop up on this one tomorrow, but still looking very good. And Nvidia here still looks okay, but it didn't show any bounce on the 50-day, which was actually kind of surprising. I don't think it's time to sound the alarm. I think this one's going to be all right. That being said, this is not a picture-perfect situation. You want to see it have buyers step in at the 50, and it just simply didn't happen today. So we'll be keeping our eye on this one. I should mention there's supposed to be a big Fed decision coming up tomorrow, so that just portends some expansion in the market, some volatility. So this one could probably go one way or the other. And Apple there, kind of a failed move over those highs. Palantir, this one's been kind of a pain in the butt to hold. Making higher lows, but not cracking this resistance level. So I'm still okay with this one. I wish it was showing a little more of a move away from my buy point, but I'm not going to trade in and out of things willy-nilly. I'm just going to hopefully see if it works, and if it doesn't work, we will get stopped out. And I said I was going to maybe move this top down a little bit just to, if there is a little pullback, then I don't really just want to get stopped out over some normal action like that. So still maybe considering moving that stop down, but right now it looks okay. Hopefully we can get some positivity tomorrow. And Microsoft kind of in the same playbook as Nvidia, just not showing the strength where you want to see it there at the 50. Google doing nothing wrong, just a rest day. AMD a little bit weaker compared to some of the other semi names, but still holding in tight underneath the 50. Broadcom kind of making a little flag consolidation range here. If you look on the 1 hour, you can see that this one really tightening up as it comes into this 50-hour line. So one of the big themes today, I would say, is a lot of stocks that look like they're getting ready to make a move one way or the other. So we'll just have to see what happens. Probably too extended for me. And then Meta had a nice day today. Coming up, it had a little bit of a failure yesterday, but it was stronger today, coming up over that high. And yeah, maybe it can move up towards all-time highs now and start to make another run. Oracle just kind of chopping around. On the 1 hour line, you can see another sell up when it tried to gap up here. So not really putting in a fish hook. This one seeming like it could continue to drift and kind of maybe move sideways and down. And then we'll see what happens when it comes into the moving averages. There's one thing I learned early in my trading journey, and that's that off of these big earning gaps, when it starts to come into things, don't over rely on the 10-day. It could catch the tracks on the 10-day, so to speak, but a lot of times I'll see it kind of look like it wants to respect it and then fail it and go down to a more long-term moving average. So that's just something I noticed early on, but doesn't necessarily pretend what's going to happen with this one, but just an interesting thought. Now, Robinhood, I was very happy with myself today because I didn't make any trades in a day where I really didn't need to make any, so that was good. The one thing I looked at myself and said, oh my God, I haven't even had this stupid mic plugged in. I hope that my voice has been coming through. I don't think I'm on mute. And maybe there's even less echo without the mic, and I do see that this is still moving, so that's good. Yeah, the mic, I definitely noticed there's an echo with the mic. I think I can turn it down. I just haven't really taken the time to remaster things. So maybe I need to do that at some point, but I'm gonna plug this mic in. Like it or not. Okay. Anywho, so Robinhood, the one thing that I looked at myself and said maybe I could have done that is I could have added a little bit more to my position. I'm actually up 2% on my position, but the issue is that it's so small that it's just a negligible gain. So I probably could have added a little bit more on this bounce, just maybe brought it up to a 5% position or something like that. But you see I've marked this high here, basically over these highs and over this high volume day. And I don't love it when a stock fails its breakout, because then you kind of have to wonder whether you get in over the old breakout level, in which case you're still going to have to beat these highs, or if you wait to beat these highs, but then you'll feel like you're extended. So not my favorite setup, but I do think if it does break over this level, I'm going to give it heavily consideration. And AppLovin just continues to ride higher, nothing wrong with this. That was a pretty big base, and that's a nice move that's making. And the Bitcoin theme, I thought there were some areas of strength, but it's not showing up in MicroStrategy. CoreWeave kind of getting volatile. This is definitely a dangerous spot, in my opinion, but it could work out. And Netflix holding tight underneath the 50, so no huge alarm bells yet. So BMNR, I think this is more Ethereum related. This one showing a little more strength. It kind of looks like a funky chart after this huge explosiveness it had back here, but just kind of breaking it down. It is starting to make a bit of a turn. I got hung up on this resistance here, but maybe a move over this level could be a potential entry point. It's just for me personally, I do not want to hold a name like this, so I'm going to skip over it. Micron just kind of resting here. And Baba continues in a very nice move here. And Coinbase, I'm actually going to take a look at these two just because I like to keep a good list of leaders to watch. In Coinbase, this one a little bit better than Micro. It did close about halfway through its range. It did close at the top of this here, so maybe starting to come alive. If it does break back through that 50, there could be some potential there could be some potential for an entry. So I don't think I'm going to buy this one. I think there's stronger themes and stocks in the market, but I think if it does break the 50, then it will be one that we're going to start to watch a little more frequently. In Intel, it does look good. It's just not for me. The banks continue to hold up well, at least JP Morgan. Walmart getting very tight at all-time highs. This one could potentially break out any day. And SoFi, just people wanted to sell it down. That makes a lot of sense to me, but the buyer said no. We're going to bring this one back up, and it just continues to defy my expectation. Now, it will be interesting to see what happens with this rate cut decision tomorrow. Maybe it's, ride the hype train, sell the news type of thing, or maybe it just like gaps up another 10% or something. You just don't know. But I think this is a buy now, pay later stock, so that would mean it's more susceptible to rate changes, so we'll just have to keep an eye on this one. Certainly this one could have a lot of volatility tomorrow, so we'll just have to see. In Uber, just a small correction after yesterday's breakout. GV, this I thought was an encouraging day, even though we did draw down probably more than you would like. It was a very clean bounce off the 50, respecting it. I think it worked its way a bit lower from where I saw it, but still, this one looking like it does want to, it looks like buyers are supporting it, so keeping an eye on it. In Reddit, kind of some wedging action here. The hourly chart looks pretty good for a potential buy soon, but it's just a little bit past where I would comfortably like to buy it. In Circle, you can see kind of similar to Coinbase, it did gap up and then faded a little bit, but still holding the bottom of the gap, so we'll see what happens. In Nebius, just giving up some, just going sideways really, which is a very strong sign. In Hims, this one, I can't make heads or tails of this one, so we'll move on. Snowflake finally looking like it might be breaking down here. It did fall back into the range here, but this time it looks like it might have actually exited, and this one could push down to the downside if the market starts to go sour. So this one, I was showing relative weakness to other AI names. Now you're starting to see some absolute weakness come into this one. We'll see what happens around the 50-day. I don't even need to watch that one. CrowdStrike coming into the 50 is going to be interesting to see what happens here, if another group can get back into gear with the cybersecurity or not. In Oklo here, I did have a nice couple of trades in this one yesterday, but I did not hold it overnight. That seemed like it was a pretty decent move early in the day. This one started to sell down, but buyers stepped back in and pushed it back up to highs. I would not be surprised to see this one make another powerful move tomorrow, kind of after a tighter day. So I don't think I'm going to get into this one again, but it's certainly looking very nice. And then ANET, I was impressed by the bounce yesterday, but I was still pretty skeptical, and this one just showing why you need to give a stock or some repair time after a bad day like it had last Friday. And Boeing just continues to look rather weak under its 50. Lamb, this one continues higher. Citigroup, the banks continue higher. This one might be the leader in the group, or maybe Goldman. I'm not quite sure. Take your pick, I guess. A-Lab, I was almost thinking about getting into this one. It's a leader through and through. I don't know if this one's ever going to give us another opportunity, honestly. I kind of feel like this is a lockout rally in this stock. But if you look at the 1 minute chart, you'll see why this one would have been so hard to get into today. It was just absolute positive volatility today at the beginning of the day. And this really would have been your entry point, but you'd have to pretty much watch it all day to catch something like that, and I just don't have that capacity. Plus, who's going to feel good about buying something when the rest of the market's just not looking great? But this one holding up, I think it will probably continue to go bananas, and it really stinks that I wasn't able to catch it on this day. Yeah, so Warner Bros. Kind of hooking over the top here. Nothing wrong with it per se, but I know this is an acquisition. I'm not sure if they're trying to wait on what the price is going to be, or if this is now moving based on Paramount. I'm not sure what the deal is, but I don't really care. I don't care to trade this one, so we're just going to move on. And Caterpillar, this one looks like it wants to make another run here, but it's not really my style, so I'm going to stay out of that one. Then IonQ, it looks like the quantum theme, yeah, definitely back in play. Very explosive move here. I don't think we're going to see what we saw back in the day with like these, what was this, like a 500% move or whatever. I don't think we're going to see anything quite that grand, but definitely the quantum theme looks like it's back in play. I'm not sure if there's been new developments. Let me see if they have anything fundamental-wise. Fundamentals are still not very good. They're not making money, but they are making a little bit of revenue, 20 million in sales for a company of 18 billion dollars. That seems a little bit underwhelming in my opinion, but I think it's just kind of a speculation play. It's not one that I would ever want to hold overnight, so I'm going to stay out of it, but certainly if you bought right here, then you're feeling like $1 million. And GE, this one finally breaking out. I'm not sure how fast it's going to run up, but definitely looks quite nice there. And then Mongo looks like it wants to potentially catch the tracks on one of these moving averages, but as I said before, don't rely too heavily on the 10 to stop a falling knife. Not that this one's a falling knife, but yeah, just don't rely too heavily on the 10 there. It could work, but it's probably not going to be a huge run if it just bounces off the 10 after a move like this, in my opinion. And Shopify, this one did get above the level I said I would be looking at it at, but it didn't hold it for very long. Came back down, closed decently. This one I would still consider to kind of be on the verge of a potential buy, so I'll be watching it, but I'm just not sure if this is one of the stocks that I want to get into. And then Roblox, just this breakout was not clean. I'm starting to think that this one might not end up working out, but we'll just have to see if it continues to work its way higher or what's going to happen with this one. Then Iron just resting a little bit. Certainly this is too extended for me to consider, but it is a fun watch. Then Rocket Lab, this is why I'm skeptical of stocks that run right back up after big down days. It certainly could have worked. It looked like it wanted to work, but just the sellers are definitely still very active in this one. I think there was an offering or something like that, so prices just skyrocketing down, no pun intended, but yeah, this is why I don't like to buy things after they show a lot of selling in the stock and then they race up to highs, and then we got stuck here. I think it just kind of was due for a pullback. It came a little bit more violently than I was expecting, but this one just all kinds of volatile right now and not really presenting a good opportunity. You can see how tight it got before it made its last run here, so you're looking for more tightness before you get involved with this one, I would say. Then SoundHound, it looks okay. It looks like it's forming some sort of base here. I just think there's probably better things to be getting involved with right now. And Tempest, this had a really nice day today. It went down, bounced right off the 10, picture perfect bounce. So I'm just going to be watching these highs for a potential entry on Tem. I'm a little bit wary of this one because it's new and it's kind of a wild mover, but I think a lot of those sins could be washed away if it breaks into all-time highs. I think this one could definitely put a nice run in, so we'll have to be monitoring that one. Then Dash kind of did what it looked like it was going to do, and it bounced right near the 10 there. And I do think that this one does figure to continue higher. I will say that this one doesn't like to follow through a whole lot, so it could just kind of, chop around and then chop higher. So probably not one for me, but this one, it looks about how you would have expected it to go if it was going to go higher. So looking good there. And then Mara, here's a Bitcoin miner coming back into my scan somehow. And you can see this is just a complete chop fest. I would not want to get involved in this one personally. If Bitcoin has a nice run, then this one can definitely run, but you can see it really hasn't put in like a nice clean trend in a very long time. So this one I think has probably seen its best days, but yeah, probably more of a day trading instrument in my opinion. That might be close to it. We have VST here. This one still holding up a bit better than GEV. GEV made a trip down to its 50 today. This one just went towards the bottom of the range. So I'm starting to come around on this VST maybe being a better pick over GEV. GEV certainly more liquid, certainly a smoother mover. But VST, I do like the strength that's showing here. So this one definitely a potential for me. And that brings us back to Tesla there. So that would be all 100 we've gone through. Let's go ahead and let's check the numbers. 24, so that's under 25. That's what we want. So that's going to be the review for tonight. I hope that everyone enjoyed. Let's see if we had any watchers. 5 views, that's quite fantastic. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I will see you in the next one. So thank you.